Imperialdramon is one of my favorite Digimon and one of my favorite cards in the card game. Imperialdramon was actually the first Digimon deck I made outside of proxies. And boy, was he an explosive deck back when he debuted. And today, we're going to talk about his history and his place in the Digimon card game. So starting off, we have Imperialdramon Dragon Mode from BT3. This was Imperialdramon's introduction to the card game. So he costs 13 to play, 5 to digivolve onto a blue or a green level 5 Digimon. He has 12k DP, and he says, when one of your Imperialdramon or Dinobemon would digivolve into this card in your hand, reduce the memory cost of the Digivolution by 2. So he costs 3 to digivolve onto Imperialdramon or Dinobemon. So really solid. This is one of the first instances of like an alternate Digivolution. So he has jamming, and then when digivolving, unsuspend all of your Digimon with jamming. So he would unsuspend himself too. This card is just really, really good. And for its time, it was a very explosive deck. You could digivolve, like you go into Imperialdramon, you swing with Imperialdramon, you digivolve into him, he unsuspends himself, then you can just swing, and then Imperialdramon has an inheritance that would unsuspend him as well. So it's multiple swings. It was one of the first like truly fast and aggressive decks in the card game. He was the star of like one of the first truly modern decks, I would argue. It's just a really cool card. Look at him, he's just swinging at you. Yeah, Imperialdramon was a really powerful card back in the day. And even now, I still think it's a really good card. And you know what, you can make some decent arguments of running him in your Imperialdramon deck currently in EX3. Yeah, he's just a really cool card too. Really cool Digimon. Here's his alternate art. Just looks just fantastic. You got Vmon and Wormmon right here in the back, just chilling out. This card really shows off Imperialdramon's body. All the detail in him too. It's just a really cool Digimon. So yeah, that's Imperialdramon from BT3. But it's not the only Imperialdramon in BT3. Here is another Dragon Mode from BT3. And all I have is his alternate art, which is kind of funny to say because usually I only have the regular art. So he's 13 to play, 5 to digivolve onto a green or a blue. He has 12k DP. And he also says when one of your Imperialdramons or Dinobemon would digivolve into this card in your hand, reduces memory cost by 2. So he costs 3 onto a Imperialdramon or Dinobemon as well. And he has piercing. And then he says, your turn, once per turn. When this Digimon would delete an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, unsuspend this Digimon. So ultimately, I do say this is the worst out of the two Imperialdramons that we got when they first debuted. Piercing is a great ability, and unsuspending itself when it kills a Digimon is pretty nice, but you do have to be a bit careful with the way you attack, your timings and attacking if you have Imperialdramon under him. Because if you have Imperialdramon under him, you first have to swing into security to unsuspend him with that Imperialdramon, and then you can use this effect to attack into a Digimon, kill them, he unsuspends himself, and then you can do a third check, which, you know, is pretty powerful, but it does take some setup. If he doesn't survive the security, then you can't use, then you're only attacking once, which can be pretty lackluster. And overall, I just think that jamming Imperialdramon that unsuspends all your jammers, because because at the time, your Imperialdramons, your Dinobemons, they had jamming. You had Vmons that had jamming too, so you're more than likely unsuspending more Digimon than just him. And yeah, I don't know. Overall, I just don't think it's a very good card in general. It's a decent card, but when you're trying to compare it to what Imperialdramon is just wants to do, it's a little slow. The artwork though is just incredible. This artwork is just awesome. Maybe in the future this card will see its place in Imperialdramon. But until then, I just don't think it's very useful. I don't think it has a spot in the deck right now. So that is Imperialdramon's introduction to the card game in BT3. I'd say they did a pretty good job bringing him into the card game. And boy oh boy, was this card just... If this card popped off, it was a menace. So now we're jumping ahead quite a bit to EX1. So here is Imperialdramon Dragon Mode. So he costs 12 to play, 3 to digivolve onto a blue or a green, level 5. He has 11k DP, and he says when digivolving, if a Digimon card free in its traits is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, unsuspend this Digimon and suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. And then your turn. For each color in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, it gets plus 1000 DP. So it's pretty decent being able to unsuspend itself and suspending one of your opponent's Digimon. In this set, they introduced some new XVmons and Stingmons. Stingmon can give him piercing, which, you know, is pretty good, but you're not going to really rely on that. Overall, I do think this one's a little lackluster. Being able to unsuspend itself though is just really, really nice. That's really the best thing about it. The extra DP is not too bad, but generally speaking, you're only really going to be getting plus 2k DP off of that. So a 13k level 6, I mean, it's alright. It's not the best Imperialdramon. The card itself is pretty lackluster. I mean, his art is alright. I don't hate it. I think it's pretty nice. It's classic Imperialdramon. So next we have the starter deck Imperialdramon, and it's also a dragon mode. So it costs 13 to play, 4 to digivolve onto a blue or a green level 5. It has 12k DP, and it has a pretty solid effect. It says when digivolving, you may play 1 level 4 lower blue Digimon card and or 1 level 4 lower green Digimon card from the Digimon Digivolution cards without paying their memory cost. So you get 2 free level 4 lower Digimon that essentially sets you up for your DNA Digivolving into Imperialdramon. This card is really good for the current Imperialdramon, and it's one of the main pieces in your combos to help extend your attacks and potentially go for game on the turn you Digivolve into this guy. So yeah, Imperialdramon came back with a pretty big bang. He's a really great card. His artwork is so cool. I really love this card. It looks really nice. And of course, its alternate art just looks gorgeous. Imperialdramon is a really cool Digimon. So now we're into BT8, where we got our first fighter mode. So it costs 12 to play, 5 to digivolve onto a blue or a green level 5. He has 13k DP. He has a black bar evolution that says he can digivolve onto 2 if the name contains dragon mode. So he can digivolve onto any dragon mode for 2 memory, which is pretty nice. Then he says when digivolving, return one of your opponent's Digimon with 10,000 DP or less to its owner's hand. Then, when attacking, once per turn. If a blue Digimon is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, unsuspend one of your Digimon. And if a green Digimon is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. This is just a solid card. You Digivolve this guy onto your Imperialdramon, you bounce one of your opponent's Digimon with 10k or DP or less, and then when attacking, he unsuspends himself and he suspends one of your opponent's Digimon. This card works really well in any Imperialdramon deck. Say you are running like a green Imperialdramon kind of build. This guy with piercing is pretty powerful. But of course, most decks don't worry about the piercing. We're strictly going to Turbo Imperialdramon. And for that, this card's really good because he can just bounce up opponent's Digimon, and he can unsuspend himself, or you can just unsuspend one of your other Digimon, and you get to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. It's a really solid card. I think it's one of the best Imperialdramon cards we have so far, and he looks so cool. Fighter mode is just a cool Digimon. So, still in BT8, we also got Paladin mode. So he's white, and the only white Imperialdramon we have so far. So he costs 15 to play, 7 to digivolve onto a blue or a green level 6. He has 16k DP. He says, when one of your Digimon will digivolve into this card in your hand, you may return one white level 7 Digimon card from your trash to the bottom of your deck to reduce the Digivolution cost by 4. So in the end, he would cost 3, which makes it a lot better. Then he says, when digivolving and when attacking, you may return one 2-color card from this Digimon's Digivolution cards to the bottom of its owner's deck to trash all the Digivolution cards under one of your opponent's Digimon. Then, return all of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards to the bottom of the owner's deck in any order. So this card sounds powerful, and it can essentially bounce any Digimon on the board. But he's so expensive to play. You have to have essentially Omnimon in your trash in order to make him cost 3 to digivolve. If you have HPD, then sure, it costs 2 to digivolve into him, but that's so situational. Not only does he slow down the deck, he also kind of conflicts with the deck's effects. He, instead of just being aggressive and unsuspending himself and attacking multiple times, he just bounces Digimon. And while that is a good ability, it's not what the deck is looking for. Paladin mode should have just been something that basically had like Blitz and let you just finish out the game. Replace a Blitz Omnimon for an Imperialdramon essentially. But I'm not going to say it's a bad card. It's still a great card, and I'm glad that we do have Paladin mode. I just hope in the future we get something a little better than what we have now. And here's his alternate art. It looks really cool. It is kind of nice though that he's kind of bad, because that means these cards are really cheap, and you can get the playset of the alternate arts for really cheap right now. I really like Paladin mode. I'm just a little disappointed in this card. That's about it. So now we're into EX3, and here we have Imperialdramon Dragon mode, and this is the Virus Imperialdramon. He's also purple and red, a first for Imperialdramon. So he costs 12 to play, 4 to digivolve onto a purple or a red level 5. He has 12k DP. He also has a DNA Digivolution cost. That is a purple level 5 and a red level 5. He says when DNA Digivolving, your opponent chooses one of their Digimon and deletes the rest. Then Blitz. Then he says when attacking once per turn. If this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP for the turn, then you may Digivolve this Digimon into an Imperialdramon fighter mode in your hand for Digivolution costs. So just right off the bat, this card is crazy powerful. Your opponent chooses one of their Digimon, you blow up the rest, and then you Blitz, and then he can Digivolve into a fighter mode. Just overall, a really great card. The only thing that's really holding this thing back right now is its deck, the support it has. So while it sounds like a really good card, it's not necessarily a really good card. Not yet. Give it some time, Bandai will give this thing more support, and I think one day this card might become an actual menace in the game. So as it stands, right now, I think this is a great card. It just doesn't have its full potential just unlocked yet. And man, his artwork, this Digimon just looks so cool. Imperialdramon in red and purple colors just looks awesome. And then also in EX3, we have Fighter Mode. He's one of the secrets of the set. So he costs 13 to play, 5 to Digivolve into a purple or a red level 5. He has 13k DP. He also has a black bar Digivolution that costs 2 if the name contains Dragon Mode. So you can Digivolve onto any of your Dragon Modes, just like your other Fighter Mode. So he has Piercing, which is pretty solid. And he says, when Digivolving, you may return one Imperialdramon Dragon Mode from this Digimon's Digivolution cards to the bottom of your owner's deck to prevent all of your opponent's security effects from activating for the turn. And that's all security effects, not just option cards. That includes Tamers and Digimon. Your opponent's security just gets shut down with this guy. And then he has an on-deletion effect that says, you may play one Wormmon and one Vmon from your trash without paying its memory cost. So if he does die, he essentially sets himself up for his combo. The combo in this deck is basically getting into this guy extremely fast. In one turn, you get this guy out, and then you get into this guy. So Fighter Mode is a great card. You can throw this into any of your Imperialdramon decks if you really wanted to. And yeah, you can only Digivolve into your Imperialdramons, because you probably aren't going to have any purple or red like level 5s. But that's not too bad, right? Generally, you're Digivolving him into your Imperialdramon's Dragon Modes anyways. So yeah, I think Fighter Mode is a really solid card. And again, its full potential just hasn't been unlocked yet. So that's Imperialdramon throughout the years. We've gotten 8 cards so far. And you know what? They're all great cards. They're all really great cards to collect and look at. And when they were released, they all did have a bit of their time to shine. Of course, like Blue Imperialdramon for BT3 was just an aggressive powerhouse. BT3 probably saw the least amount of play in all of these cards, which, you know, it's not a terrible card. It's just not... It's not great. This card was just so much better. And then, you know, EX1 Imperialdramon, again, probably fell in the same way as this guy. Just didn't really help the deck, and it just didn't really add anything to it, really. But then the starter deck Imperialdramon changed everything and made the deck just incredibly aggressive. Fighter Mode just added so much more support on your top end. It's a really great card. Paladin Mode, it's a cool concept, but for Imperialdramon, it's not a great card. It just doesn't really click with the rest of the decks in Imperialdramon. Imperialdramon likes to just delete and attack. It doesn't really care about bouncing guys that fast. The way I see Imperialdramon, you're trying to kill your opponent faster than they can even build a stack worth bouncing anyway. And then EX3 Imperialdramon brought in a whole new archetype to the Digimon, and I think it's a really cool archetype, and currently it's not the best it can be, and eventually I think over time it will just get better. So what do you think of Imperialdramon, guys? I think it's one of the coolest archetypes in the game. It's extremely aggressive. Bandai has shown that they are not slowing down with any of the support. In BT12, we're getting all new Imperialdramon support, and it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Look forward to that, guys. So yeah, Imperialdramon, pretty great. It has a really good track record in the card game. Only a few lackluster cards, but really the only reason we call them lackluster is because there's other better Imperialdramon cards in the game. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed Imperialdramon, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite Imperialdramon card is. Let me know why you love Imperialdramon. He's just an awesome ancient dragon. And if you enjoyed my video, be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!